Calling to order the regular meeting of the Wheeling Plan Commission for Wednesday, March 22nd, 2023. Please stand for the pledge. Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Commissioner Casper.
Present.
Commissioner Heiken.
Here.
Commissioner Berkey.
Here.
Commissioner Sprague is here. Commissioner Riles.
Here.
Commissioner Meyer.
Here.
Chairman Johnson.
Here. Ms. Nyes, any changes to the agenda this evening?
No changes.
All right. Citizens' concerns and comments. We have one for one of the docket items, but nothing else? There was nothing else?
There was nothing else.
Okay. And let's see, tonight we have no consent items, so we'll get right into the items for review. We have a lot to cover. So let's get started with our first one. Docket 2023-06, special use to operate a gaming establishment, Tracy's at 18 West Dundee Road. Mike?
Silverhawk Restaurant, LLC, DBA Tracy's Bistro. Leasee is seeking special use approval pursuant to Title 19 zoning of the Wheeling Municipal Code, Chapter 19.10 Use Regulations and associated sections in order to permit a gaming establishment located at 18 West Dundee Road, which is Zone B3, General Commercial and Office District. A special use is defined in the zoning code as a use of parcel of land that requires review and consideration before approval due to the potential for negative impacts on surrounding properties. In order to be considered for a special use, the petitioner is required to demonstrate through testimony to the Plan Commission at the public hearing that the request meets the standards of the Village Code, including but not limited to how the proposed use will not damage the enjoyment or use of the surrounding properties. Prior to the public hearing, the petitioner provides written statements meant to show that the request meets the standards for a special use as established in Title 19. The Commission chairperson will typically direct that these statements be entered into the record without a full reading of them at the hearing. Based upon the testimony and supporting materials submitted, the Plan Commission will make findings in support of or against the petitioner's testimony and report those findings to the Village Board.
Thank you. Ms. Nyes, anything on this for
Yes.
the petitioner?
So just some background background. So Tracy's in, 2018 received a special use for a restaurant. That's how these were treated in 2018. There was no special use for a gaming establishment. So at that time they were a restaurant and they had gaming and the requirement was to have food. It was tied with it. So now, since we amended the ordinance in 2022 to have this gaming establishment option, they are opting to apply for the special use so they can go ahead and do the gaming without having to provide for food. So that's the background there. There are two conditions that staff was recommending. The first one, these are both taken from the original special use for the restaurant. And so we're just carrying them over. First one is the seating capacity shall not exceed a total of 14 seats. And number two, the hours of operation shall be consistent with liquor licensing.
And is the petitioner here? Come on down. I need to swear you in.
I'm sorry?
Need to swear you in. Do you swear the testimony you're giving tonight to be the truth?
I do.
So please state your name and business address for the record.
I'm Barbara Barclay, 18 West Dundee Road, Wheeling, Illinois.
Okay. Is there anything you want to add to what Marcy said?
No, the real reason we are opting to go for this option is that we just don't sell the food. We end up throwing it away and then buy more and, repeat.
So you'll just have snacks and
We
stuff
do
like
have
that?
snacks and we'll always provide snacks.
All right. Then let's go right to the Plan Commission. Commissioner Meyer, we'll start down at that end.
No questions.
All right, Commissioner Riles?
Thank you. I'm just curious, what type of food were you serving that you weren't selling it and you had to toss it?
Most of it was frozen. and like hamburgers, hot dogs, well, no, not hot dogs, hamburgers, chicken fingers, mostly microwavable, pizza oven stuff.
And the patrons weren't,
Nope, they opted for, so there were many times when I worked there that I would run next door and get tacos or bakery items because the smell of the bakery just, it's a wonderful smell.
okay, I would, the only reason I ask, I would just imagine that, people will frequent the facility, the venue, would spend at least a couple hours there, I would imagine, so.
Yeah, so there's a Subway in that complex, there's a Domino's, and then, of course, we're right next to the bakery, so the smell is always in the bakery, so we have more customers say, hey, would you run next door and grab me this? I'm like, okay.
Okay, no further questions, thank you.
Commissioner Sprague.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no questions.
Commissioner Berkey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No questions.
Commissioner Heiken.
Thank you, and no questions.
And Commissioner Casper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No questions.
All right, that leaves me. You understand the condition about the 14-seat limit? Because I know on your layout you had more than that.
Yeah, we can remove a table if we need to.
Okay. Any other questions? Nope. Marcy, you want to read those conditions again, just to make it official?
Sure. The seating capacity shall not exceed a total of 14 seats. And number 2, the hours of operation shall be consistent with liquor licensing.
Thank you. With those conditions, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Casper and Meyer?
Yes. Commissioner Casper.
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer.
Yes.
Commissioner Heiken.
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey.
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner Riles.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, so
You're all
it's
set.
a positive recommendation, and you'll then move to the village board on April 3rd. Same time, same place.
Yay, thank you so much.
Motion to close 2023-06.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner Meyer.
Yes.
Commissioner Casper.
Yes.
Commissioner Heiken.
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey.
Yes.
Commissioner Riles.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. Next up, docket number 2023-07, special use to operate a light vehicle rental facility, U-Haul, at 1712 South Wolf Road. Mr. Secretary?
Max Luxembourg, leasee, is seeking special use approval pursuant to Title 19 zoning of the Wheeling Municipal Code, Chapter 19.10, use regulations and associated sections, in order to permit a light vehicle rental facility for new age truck and equipment rental, a U-Haul authorized dealer located at 1712 South Wolf Road, which is zoned I-1 light industrial and office. A zoning variation is intended to be a method of adjustment to equalize regulations where the zoning code has created an unnecessary hardship.
Special use, sir. Yeah, special use to operate.
Pardon me. The special use is defined in zoning code as a use of parcel of land that requires review and consideration before approval due to the potential for negative impacts on surrounding properties. In order to be considered for special use, the petitioner is required to demonstrate through testimony to the Plan Commission at a public hearing that the request meets the standards of the village code, including but not limited to how the proposed use will not damage the enjoyment or use of the surrounding properties. Prior to the public hearing, the petitioner provides written statements meant to show that the request meets the standards for special use as established in Title 19. The Commission chairperson will typically direct that these statements be entered in the record without full reading of them at the hearing. Based upon the testimony and supporting materials submitted, the Plan Commission will make findings in support of or against the petitioner's testimony and report those findings to the village board.
Thank you. Ms. Nyes?
Yes, I will provide some background on this as well. The petitioner is looking to receive a special use to operate a light motor vehicle rental facility. And so in the staff report, which I'll reiterate here, defines a light motor vehicle rental facility as an establishment where contracts are prepared or reservations accepted for the rental or leasing of light motor vehicles. And a light motor vehicle is a vehicle that is used primarily for recreational or personal purposes and does not exceed 20 feet in length, has no more than 6 wheels, and it's limited to an automobile, a van, a sports utility vehicle, a truck with a cargo capacity of 1.5 tons or less, motorcycle, or boat, not an RV. So I guess the big one here is that any truck is limited to 20 feet bumper to bumper. And also limited to 6 wheels. And what was the other one? Well, so the petitioner is already in operation, as you can see. They have trucks out there already. They will be limited to 8 parking spots behind the building only if the special use is approved. They have a lockbox in the back of the building, and that's where keys will be, or I think a couple of lock boxes, I'm not sure, where patrons will pick up and drop off keys. Nothing would be permitted in the front parking area. And I believe staff has recommended 4 conditions. You want me to read those now?
Sure.
Okay. Number 1, all rental vehicles and equipment, including but not limited to trailers, shall be parked in the rear of the parking lot, west of the building, and it should be at the south end of said lot. Number 2, a maximum of 8 parking spaces shall be used for all business operations for 1712 South Wolf Road, including but not limited to parking for employees, customers, and rental vehicles/trailers. Number 3, the self-service 24/7 key box shall be located in the rear or west elevation of the building. And number 4, rentals are limited to vehicles that are no more than 20 feet in length as measured from the front bumper to rear bumper, and trailers with no more than 1 axle. This will limit rental vehicles to pickup trucks, cargo vans, and 10-foot box trucks. That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, is the petitioner here? Come on up.
And since everyone is listening right now, when you come up, can you please clearly state and potentially helpfully spell your name so the person that is doing the meeting minutes can get that down accurately? Thank you.
Okay, I have to swear you in. You swear the testimony you're giving tonight to be the truth.
I do.
Please state your name and business address for the record.
Max, M-A-X, Luxembourg, L-Y-U-K-S-E-M-B-U-R-G. Address is 1712 South Wolf Road, Wheeling, Illinois, 60090.
All right. Please tell us about your operation.
Yeah, so like she said, I'm trying to get 8 spots approved in the back. It's mostly one-way trucks, so there's not going to be a lot of them in and out at all. Everything is done through the app, so no one really goes inside the building at all. So when the person comes in and picks it up, there's a lockbox in the back. They do it all on the app. And then sometimes if they need help, they just call me. I come out and help them.
So you don't have much of an operation inside the building at all?
I have a different, I use my area, the 1712. There's offices in front and there's a warehouse in the back. The warehouse, I use it for storage, like a different business for storage. And then the front is a mortgage company. But I'm there and my partner comes in once in a while because everything is remote. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to say before we go to questions?
No.
All right, we'll start at the other end. Commissioner Casper.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. So if this is mostly one-way rentals, how do you don't you run into a problem where all of a sudden you have no trucks to rent or trailers?
Well, this is just, I have the extra parking spaces, like the owner gave it to me.
Okay.
I just came up with an idea just to use it, in order to have a one-way, someone has to drop it off in order for me, to get it out.
But do I understand clearly that all of your rentals are one-way?
Yeah, right now.
So I can't go on the app or whatever and say, I want to rent it and bring it back?
A one-way, they could drop it off and they could, so let's say if someone wants to rent a local, If the truck is not there, they can't rent it. So, but they could, let's say for a local, if someone wants to rent a local and I have a one-way truck, they could, yeah.
Okay, that's all I have.
Commissioner Heiken.
Yeah, thank you. My question is maintenance on the trucks. You don't do any of that
No,
there?
No.
None of
If-
that's
if
done in
we
the
need-
parking lot?
So if the truck needs maintenance, let's say tires or anything else, I put it down, like in the system, and a company, like a U-Haul comes in and picks it up too, like their.
So no, there's not going to be any maintenance in the parking
No, I
lot?
don't even know how to do it.
Okay,
Yeah, no.
that's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Berkey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, no questions.
Commissioner Sprague.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening.
Okay.
8 spaces, that will be enough for what you want to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
You won't
I
have,
don't.
you
do
won't
more
ever
right
have
now.
more vehicles than that?
It's not a busy location, and I just do it like a part-time just to help with the bills and stuff, so 8 is fine. Because again, they're one-ways, sometimes I'll get like a local or two, but they're one-way, so it's a slow location.
I notice this is going to be a 24/7,
Yeah,
so
through the app.
is there sufficient lighting in the back if someone was to come in
Yeah.
at night?
Yeah, there's lighting. Usually, again, like client will call me or I'll call them if it's past hours because I'm in and out of there. And I'll do their reservation like remotely and stuff and tell them how to pick it up or the boxes, but there's lighting in the building and stuff.
And that lighting is on all night long
All
then?
night, yeah,
It is.
security lighting.
And is there any security cameras
There's cameras there too.
And
Yeah, from
just-
doors on the back.
for safety,
Yeah.
for whoever
yeah,
might?
Yeah, companies have it there, yep.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's all I have.
Commissioner Riles.
Thank you. No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Sprague asked some of my questions, but I do have one outstanding one, and that's relative to your app. I know you mentioned people do the bookings through it. Is there also instructions within that application that directs people to return their vehicles to the back of the building?
Correct, yes. And then so when I log in, I could see on the website, I could see when the truck is getting dropped off, what day, what time. I still call them and tell them, like directions, like what time I'm going to be there, where to drop off the truck, where to drop off the key box in the back.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay, I guess my questions were answered. Any other questions from the commission? Nope. Ms. Nyes, read the conditions again.
Number 1, all rental vehicles and equipment, including but not limited to trailers, shall be parked in the rear of the parking lot, west of the building, and at the south end of said lot. Number 2, a maximum of 8 parking spaces shall be used for all business operations for 1712 South Wolf Road, including but not limited to parking for employees, customers, and rental vehicles/trailers. Number 3, the self-service 24/7 key box shall be located in the rear west elevation of the building. Number 4, rentals are limited to vehicles that are no more than 20 feet in length as measured from front bumper to rear bumper, and trailers with no more than 1 axle. This will limit rental vehicles to pickup trucks, cargo vans, and 10-foot box trucks.
And trailers.
Yes, and trailers. You want me to add that?
Well, yeah, because you say it's limited to,
Okay. Single axle.
yeah.
How do you spell axle? A-X-E-L. No. Okay.
Okay. All right, with those conditions, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Berkey.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Casper,
Yes?
Commissioner Heiken,
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner,
I'm sorry.
Got to
Sorry,
close.
we forgot that we had someone that wanted to speak on this.
Sorry.
I apologize. Louis, I'm going to mess up the name. Come on up. I completely forgot about you. Raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're giving tonight to be the truth?
I do.
And state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Louis Psicoyos.
Better spell that one.
My property address is 109 North Wolf Road.
Could you spell your last name?
I live Psyhogios.
Thank you.
Once again, my property address is 109 North Wolf Road, approximately 650 feet from the front door of this business.
Okay.
The access to this business is Alderman Lane. Like I said, I live directly across the street with my family, 2 children, ages 5 and 6. This proposal is disturbing and concerning. Over the past few months, we have seen an increase in semi-trucks, large vehicles with trailers, and so on. Let me begin with the fact that the speed limit is 40 miles per hour. There are no sidewalks, no curbs, and no street lighting. Trucks turning in and out as if they were in some type of hurry to get in and out to make their deadline and return their trucks or whatever it may be. It is a tragedy waiting to happen, as these large trucks and vehicles can at any point proceed straight and drive directly through my home. Looking out my front window, it is at times extremely uncomfortable, as the headlights of these large trucks are blaring through my living space. In addition, this is an economic obsolescence that has contributed to the loss of value due to the factors that are external to my property. The speed limit should be reduced immediately. There's no reason trucks should have a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit in front of my home. And they never follow the speed limit. There's never a police officer there to calm them down or even slow them down. There's no slow signs, there's no stop signs, there's no yield signs. Sidewalks need to be installed, and the streets need lighting. Even getting my mail or bringing my garbage cans to the front of my home is dark and frightening. If we allow this to pass, it will allow the next business person an open door and will continue to increase the danger to my family and home. I don't care what type of insurance you're required, as there is no dollar amount to the safety of my children, family, and home. You are now notified on record the concerns for our safety. I'm sure the village is leaning to allow this because it's all about the revenue. But you must, with this additional revenue, take into consideration to protect the safety of your residents. I believe that's all I have to say for now. It's a tragedy waiting to happen. Inexperienced drivers jumping off a clutch will come directly through my front window. I strongly object this or any more of these trucks with no curbs, no sidewalks, no lighting, 40-mile-an-hour speed limit. Come on. Is that safe? Is that protecting your residents? No, not in any way. My children don't play in the front yard because it has become so unsafe. There's semi-trucks jumping off of their clutches. At any point, these people can slip and make a tragic mistake and drive directly through my home. Your trucks are 20 feet long. From the front window to the back of my house, it's 20 feet. I strongly object. Whatever they're requesting, light motor vehicle, they're parking them in the back. There's a lockbox. Who knows if these are licensed driver or experienced drivers renting U-Hauls. There's only one way in and out. The street there is not lit up. There is no lights. It's 40 miles an hour. Somebody can jump off of that gas or brake and hit the gas and come directly through my home. I think that's all I have to say. I strongly object.
Thank you. Yes, please.
So I think what the gentleman was talking about, there's a company right across the street from Alderman Lane. It's been there for like a year. It's a semi-company. And they're going in and out, which is a semi-company. And there's a company in the back which parks car trailers that go really fast in and out. So I think that's what he's, but there's nothing to do with your home.
Okay. Now, does anybody have any other questions? Commissioner Casper.
I appreciate your time and I'm sympathetic to your concerns. Have you brought your feelings to the attention of the village board and or the police department?
I have brought it to the attention of Prospect Heights, which is directly across the street.
Okay.
I call it Prospect Heights, Wheeling is directly across the street. On the west side of Wolf Road is Wheeling.
Yeah.
The east side of Wolf Road is Prospect.
Oh, you're in Prospect Heights, okay. I didn't get that part of it. And do I understand that there are trucks going in and out of other businesses right in this area on this Alderman Avenue? I'm not real familiar with it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's become out of control,
Okay, I understand.
completely out of control.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a company in the back that has, yeah.
Someone else have?
I have a question.
Yes.
Your 20-foot trucks, a CDL isn't required to drive
No,
those.
just everything is rented with the driving license, obviously.
So there's no
Insurance.
special license?
No, no.
for those vehicles?
No CDL, there's no clutch, there's no stick shift, it's just regular.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think a 20-foot end-to-end is close to like a 10-foot box truck. Is that right?
15 probably,
Okay.
15-foot would be probably 20.
I think that we measured that you weren't going to be able to go larger than a 10-foot box truck, and that's what we put in the conditions. So a 10-foot box truck is, obviously the box is just 10, so you can't go any bigger than that.
Okay. Anything else?
Question, so in this photo, the box truck that I'm seeing, that one right there, that's pretty much the biggest one that you
Yeah, I
have?
think that's a 10-foot. Yeah, it's 10-foot.
Okay.
And that white one in the back is not yours?
Without stickers, decals?
Yeah.
No, it's one of the employees next door. They use it to move things.
Okay. Anything else from the commission? All right, I will ask for a renewed motion.
So moved.
Second.
Heiken.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Heiken,
Yes.
Commissioner Casper,
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes, Commissioner Riles,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes.
Okay, so this is a positive recommendation from the Plan Commission, and you will get your final decision at the Village Board on April 3rd at 6:30 PM here, same place.
Thank
And
you.
you can come and talk to the village board, give them the
As well.
same presentation.
Failing the residents. You're failing. Something happens.
Well, we don't make the decision for the company to come in. We're recommending to the board,
Something happens to my family,
Sir,
to my children,
sir.
because you have approved this.
Sir.
You are all going to be held.
Sir, I wasn't done. All we do is recommend that this business is following our codes to the village board. They are the ones that make the ultimate decision whether the business comes into the community or not. That's where you need to
State your concerns.
state your concerns.
And you're allowing this?
We're recommending it to the village board
Based on
That they-
village codes,
that they follow our codes. That's what we're here for.
You're allowing them a variance,
No.
no, special use.
special use.
Yes.
We aren't allowing it. The village board will allow it.
I don't go back and forth.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Next up, we have docket 2020.
We have to close the.
Oh, yes, we have to close 2023-07.
So moved.
Second,
Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner Meyer?
yes.
Commissioner Casper?
Yes.
Commissioner Heiken?
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey?
Yes.
Commissioner Riles?
Yes.
Chairman Johnson?
Yes. Next up, docket 2023-08, special use to permit a health clinic, Concentra, at 544 West Dundee Road in Lynn Plaza. Mr. Secretary?
Little, on behalf of Concentra, leasee is seeking special use approval pursuant to Title 19 zoning of the Wheeling Municipal Code, Chapter 19.10, use regulations and associated sections in order to permit a health clinic located at 544 West Dundee Road and 544B West Dundee Road, which is zoned MXT, Transit-Oriented Mixed-Use Zoning District. A special use is defined in the zoning code as a use of parcel of land that requires review and consideration before approval due to the potential for negative impacts on surrounding properties. In order to be considered for a special use, the petitioner is required to demonstrate through testimony to the Plan Commission at a public hearing that the request meets the standards of the village code, including but not limited to how the proposed use will not damage the enjoyment or use of the surrounding properties. Prior to the public hearing, the petitioner provides written statements meant to show that the request meets the standards for a special use as established in Title 19. The Commission chairperson will typically direct that these statements be entered into the record without a full reading of them at the hearing. Based upon the testimony and supporting materials submitted, the Plan Commission will make findings in support of or against the petitioner's testimony and report those findings to the Village Board.
Thank you. Ms. Nyes, any history on this one?
Yes. So Concentra is currently at Lynn Plaza legally. They have been there for a long time. I'm not sure of the exact date, but when they first came in, a special use was not required. So they are, legally in there. And as shown in this picture, if you can see it, it's the darker blue is where they currently are.
Yes.
And the lighter blue is where, is that right? Yeah, they're expanding. Okay. So now that they're expanding the area, you can't expand on a legal non-conforming use. So now they have to bring it into conformance with the current zoning code. So that's why they need to come in at this point to get the special use. And we did not recommend any conditions.
Thank you. Is the petitioner here? All right, if you're both going to speak, I need to swear both of you in. All right. You swear the testimony you're giving tonight to be the truth?
Yes. Yes.
State your names and business address for the record.
Jeff Hanson, Jeff Hanson, Hanson, and this is for the Concentra at 544 West Dundee Road, Wheeling, Illinois.
Jason, Jason, Wentworth, Wentworth, 544 West Dundee Road.
All right. Tell us about your project.
So I'm the architect involved in this, working with Concentra, and we're expanding the clinic. It's roughly 2,550 square feet added to the already 5,000 square feet that is there. We were not going to be doing anything to the exterior. It's just taking over the vacant space that is next to the current location.
Okay. Anything to add?
I would just add, we've been there since the mid to late 90s, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
That was going to be my question.
We want a little more space for our colleagues and for our patients and for our customers. With the lease expiration coming up with a space next door, this is the perfect opportunity to do that.
All right, very good. This is also a public hearing. I don't know if there's anyone in the audience that came to speak on this. Apparently not. So we'll move on to Commissioner Meyer again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No questions.
Commissioner Riles.
Thank you. No questions.
Commissioner Sprague.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no question.
Commissioner Berkey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No questions.
Commissioner Heiken.
Thank you, and thank you for the service you provide for the community. I have no questions.
And Commissioner Casper.
I have no questions, but with the influx of people who have moved into the immediate area with all of the housing that's gone up in the last few years, I think this is a great thing to have and obviously expanded service.
And I had no questions on this either. So, and you said there were no conditions?
No conditions.
So we will move right on to a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Casper.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Casper,
Yes?
Commissioner Heiken,
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes, Commissioner Riles.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. Thank you, gentlemen.
So you two will also go to the village board on April 3rd for the final approval. Same place, same time.
And now we need a motion to close 2023-08.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes, Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Casper,
Yes.
Commissioner Heiken,
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Riles.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. All right, next up, we have 2023-09, variation to reduce the required minimum side yard setback from 6 feet to 0 feet at 297 First Street. Mr. Secretary.
Yanina Nepchuk, Pacharov,
Hello.
Hang on. Go ahead.
property owner, is seeking a variation as required in Title 19 zoning of the Wheeling Municipal Code, Chapter 19-11, General Development Standards and associated sections, to reduce the minimum required building setback from the side yard from 6 feet to 0 feet associated with a building addition located at 297 First Street. A zoning variation is intended to be a method of adjustment to equalize regulations where the zoning code has created an unnecessary hardship. A variation is designed to allow affected property owners the same rights and privileges that others enjoy in the same zoning district. In order to be granted a variation, a petitioner is required to demonstrate through testimony to the Plan Commission at a public hearing that the request meets the standards of the village code, including but not limited to how their individual situation is unique or unusual. Prior to the public hearing, the petitioner provides written statements meant to show that the request for the variation meets the standards established in Title 19. The Commission chairperson will typically direct that these statements be entered into the record without a full reading of them at the hearing. Based upon the testimony and supporting materials submitted, the Plan Commission will make findings in support of or against the petitioner's testimony and report those findings to the village board.
Thank you. Ms. Nyes.
Do you want me to go over it before you talk?
Sure.
Okay. So the petitioner has put in a cover for their boat that extends from their garage, and it's about 8 feet wide by 22 feet long. And they were caught for putting it up without a building permit. And then when they came in for the building permit, we realized that obviously it didn't meet the setback because the structure came all the way up to the fence. And so we can see from this drawing, it's just the top with 4 posts in it. It's not solid on any side. So they're doing this to protect their boat, and the garage does meet the setback requirement, just so everybody knows that. It was just this additional structure that does not meet it. The village has the staff has, where's my special conditions? Where are they? Yeah, sorry. So staff has recommended 3 conditions. The first is that the parking surface under the roof extension shall be constructed of hard surface material. Number 2, which I think we've already done, within 30 days from the granting of the variance by the Village of Wheeling, the petitioner shall submit an application for building permit to the Department of Community Development for the addition and paving. Upon demonstration of compliance with all village regulations, the building permit shall be issued upon payment by the petitioner, in which the building permit fee shall be doubled pursuant to the schedule of village fees and charges. And number 3, the addition shall be improved with rain gutters and downspouts to discharge stormwater onto the subject property to prevent discharge on the neighboring properties. I guess that was engineering's concern, was the runoff going to the neighbor's property and causing an erosion over there.
Thank you. All right, I will need to swear you in. So, do you swear the testimony you're giving tonight to be the truth? Now you can state and spell your name.
Yanina Непочетов. Yanina, Y-A-N as in November, I-N-A. Yanina Непочетов. N as in November, E-P-O-C-H-A-T-O-V.
Thank you.
This is my husband, Boris Yavny. Do I need to spell his?
Yeah, you can spell his first name.
Yeah, Boris, yeah, Yavny, Y-A-V-N-E.
Okay. All right, so tell us how this came about.
Yeah, so we have a small boat, as you can hardly see in there, and we used to store it on our driveway, and it was not looking nice. It was bulky, it was blocking the view and not secure. So then we thought about that spot between the garage and the neighboring fence. We did check with the neighbor, and he said he doesn't mind, so we stick our boat in there, and then we thought it would be nice to have a cover to protect it from the elements, so we just built it without even thinking that this is too serious of a structure to obtain a permit, and we then later realized it's a violation. So thanks for giving us the opportunity to ask for, yeah. And this is the written consent from the neighbor who doesn't mind to have the structure next to his fence, but we're also willing to work with the village and create a downspout for the water if this is the only concern for that build-up.
All right.
And of course, it's not finished. If allowed, we would finish that up, looking nice, matching color with the garage, so it would just look invisible, nice, and good curb appeal on the top of the security and other benefits.
Okay. Did you get this, or?
I did not.
Okay. This is a letter that they wrote to their neighbor asking if they had any problems with it, and it has been signed by the neighbor that apparently he has no issue. Take a look at that.
And this is this fence is not next to the house, it's a fence between our lots, so there's no would be no damage to the house or anything. It's a lot next to the fence.
But it will drain into their yard.
We will install the drain. We're gonna follow all the village directions to remove the water from downspill to the neighboring property, even though our neighbor said he wouldn't mind additional watering to his yard.
We can install gutters and water spot. We can need to finish.
Yeah, we didn't have a chance to finish.
All right, well, let's move on to our questions. Let's start with Mr. Secretary. Commissioner Sprague.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. In my opinion, this is altering the essential character of the neighborhood, the looks of it from the street. So I will think I'll be able to recommend this to the village board because of that. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right. Let's mix it up. Commissioner Berkey.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the fence, that's the neighbor's fence right next door?
No, this, or ours, or neighbors.
Neighbor.
Neighbor's fence, okay. And did you consider before building the structure, is there any sort of, I mean, because this is mainly just to cover the boat, right? Did you consider like a tarp or anything like that that you could use to protect it from the elements?
Only protect from rain
Yeah,
and snow.
right, okay. Yeah, that's all the questions I have. Thanks.
All right, go back over here to Commissioner Riles.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, thank you. My question is, did you consider, and I know it could be, you know, for economic reasons or whatever, but did you consider at all extending the garage? In some instances, people, if they get an additional car, would probably try to extend out with the garage, or on the side where the two windows are. Did you consider?
It wouldn't work because the entrance to the garage is from another side, so extending to the right wouldn't do anything.
Actually, hard to park with the car, and with both is impossible.
So in the structure that you built here, you're saying to me that there's a way that you can drive the car, back it in to put the boat in there? How do you get the boat under this structure?
It's not heavy, we can roll in, it's a small boat, we can roll in, roll out.
So I'm guessing to the left of this photo that we're looking here, that's your driveway? Is that asphalt
On
of
the
your
left.
driveway on the left?
So, yeah, we are parking this way, not straight in, from the side.
So you're able to get the boat from that left side to the viewing side that we see in this photo, correct?
Yes.
So my question is, did you consider putting the structure where the two windows are to extend out to get the boat there so that you wouldn't be in violation of code where you have it currently? Did you even consider that at all?
Actually, this is better idea, but we're not considering it. But I don't know. This, I think this no big structure. This easy. But this, you mean toward garage?
I mean, instead of having the structure behind the, well, where it is currently, I would extend where the windows are.
Yeah,
and have the structure.
This we can directly we can make this.
Yeah, like it's easy, roll in, roll out. If we would extend closer to the road, then we would have to make a tour in order to.
That would be within the front setback, so that's why they can't do it.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be another variance anyways.
Yeah, well, I figured that, but.
Yeah, we
Yeah, see,
hardly
this is
move
the
our
front
cars to park.
setback.
We have to extend our driveway to make it available. And with the boat, boat is not that make maneuvers like a car.
Okay, I understand. But
Hardly possible.
Yeah, yeah. All right. No further questions, thank you.
20, so they have 18.
Commissioner Heiken.
Yeah, so my question is, the boat, is that sitting on gravel? Did you put cement in there to sit on that, or is it just on dirt? Or what is that on?
That was one of the recommendation of the village, if approved, to put some gravel, and we would do that if approved. Other than that, we just roll it on the
So
grass.
currently, it's just sitting on
On the
dirt?
grass.
Okay, that's all I have, thank you.
Commissioner Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No questions.
Commissioner Gasper.
Yeah, I have a question. Well, first of all, I have a concern that if you're going to leave this structure and put in downspouts, the only way I see to do it is to have those downspouts send the water along that fence line. And I'm not an expert on it, but I don't think that's really a great idea, because that water, I think, to my way of thinking, would collect there and possibly speed up the deterioration of the wooden fence. My other question is, did you consider some type of, again, I don't know that much about boats, but I know people just get tarps or covers for their boats. You could then have the boat on a pad behind your house or at the end of your driveway, and it wouldn't interfere with the traffic, and then you wouldn't need the structure.
First of all, it's not secure. This is more secure.
How is it more secure?
I can
Connect to, on the driveway, it was sitting here. We did store, as I mentioned previously, on the driveway. It was sitting on the driveway, but we cannot connect it to anything, so technically anyone can drag and take it away. And it didn't look good. It was just too bulky. It was blocking the driveway, it was blocking the view, and it didn't look
So how
nice.
about behind the house? Is there some place you could,
We don't have the entrance.
you don't have a backyard?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we were very happy to find that spot, and we thought it just would satisfy all the conditions.
Thank you. No further questions.
All right. How were you planning on finishing this? You said it wasn't done. So what was your plan to finish it?
To finish up the roof, to paint the roof, currently the roof of the garage is brown, and the roof on the structure is black, and the roof of the house is black. So we wanted to paint garage roof in black so it looked nice. First of all, secondly, that wooden part would be painted to match to the garage, so it would be like one smooth picture. And of course, if approved, follow all the village recommendation in terms of putting gravel underneath of it.
It has to be a hard surface, so I don't think
Yeah,
gravel will do it.
and create the water downspout.
Yeah, it would have to be paved.
Hmm?
It would have to be pavement.
Okay.
Yeah, we discussed.
What
It's not a problem at all, so please approve.
You weren't going to put any kind of gate across the front of it, or
No, nothing like this.
leave it open? All right, and in this picture, it looks like the roof is right on the fence line. And if you add gutters, it's going to be on the other side of the fence. You'd have to bring the water back to your side. So I think you'd be infringing on the neighbor's property that way. Did you think about having like a retractable canopy over it instead of a structure? I don't know
This
what-
is canopy.
Well, no, this is a structure. You've got a foundation poured for these posts. That makes it a structure. I don't know what a canopy would have done, you know, one of those retractable awning type things.
I think so, because it's temporary. It's
Yeah.
considered temporary.
Or can this structure be made smaller to get it away from the fence some more? Is that the width you needed for the trailer?
Yeah. But again, if the main concern is water going to a neighbor property, we think we can work with that, and plus our neighbor is fully aware of this structure and he doesn't mind for any reason.
Yes, actually, he said this is good for him. All this water
Yeah,
coming
I
on his
To his
grass.
grass, yeah. But anyway, we will collect all the water to our
Anyway,
yard.
we can do something. We can
Yeah.
solve this problem.
All right, so. Did you call? So if this does get approved by the village board, you understand that you'll need to go ahead and get a permit, pay the extra fee because you didn't get the permit the first time.
We would definitely get a permit if we would have a slight idea. It's our biggest fault. We didn't think it just too big of a project to obtain a permit.
I understand.
Because it doesn't have walls, it doesn't have any hazard, no fire hazard, no electricity whatsoever, just 4 posts and the covers. So we were not taking that seriously. We apologize.
Well, I assume you have a gas tank in that boat, so there is fuel in there. I don't know if we don't have anybody from the fire department here to comment on it, but.
No, I mean, it's just like having a shed
Yeah.
with gasoline.
Okay, any other questions from this group? This was also a public hearing. Was there anybody in the audience that wanted to speak on this? Okay. All right, let's do the formal reading of the conditions and we'll get our vote.
Okay, number 1, the parking surface under the roof extension structure shall be constructed of hard surface material. Number 2, within 30 days from the granting of the variance by the Village of Wheeling, the petitioner shall submit an application for building permit to the Department of Community Development for the addition and paving. Upon demonstration of compliance with all village regulations, the building permit shall be issued upon payment by the petitioner, in which the building permit fee shall be doubled pursuant to the schedule of village fees and charges. Number 3, the addition shall be improved with rain gutters and downspouts to discharge stormwater onto the subject property to prevent discharge on the neighboring properties.
Thank you. With those conditions, do I hear a motion?
I move to deny the request of the petitioner.
Yeah, you can't,
Can't do that?
no, it has to be in the positive, and then you could
Okay.
vote yes
I
or no.
stand corrected.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Sprague is a no. Commissioner Meyer?
No.
Commissioner Casper?
No.
Commissioner Heiken?
No.
Commissioner Berkey?
No.
Commissioner Riles?
No.
Chairman Johnson?
No. So,
Okay, so the Plan Commission is a negative recommendation. This will go to the village board on April 3rd, and they make the final decision. So it'll be April 3rd at 6:30 back here in the village boardroom.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and we'll be in contact before then.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
all right, motion to close 2023-09.
So moved.
Second.
Is that Heiken?
I think so.
Yeah.
That was you, Rick?
That was like, yeah.
Commissioner Meyer?
Yes.
Commissioner Heiken?
Yes.
Commissioner Casper?
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner Riles?
Yes.
Chairman Johnson?
Yes. All right, moving on. Docket 2023-10, special use to permit a recreation and instruction facility. Favareli Incorporated, 262 McHenry Road. Mr. Secretary.
Favareli Incorporated, leasee, is seeking special use approval pursuant to Title 19 zoning in the Wheeling Municipal Code, Chapter 19.10, use regulations and associated sections in order to permit a recreation and instruction facility located at 262 McHenry Road, which is Zone B2, Neighborhood Commercial Zoning District. A special use is defined in the zoning code as a use of parcel of land that requires review and consideration before approval due to the potential for negative impacts on the surrounding properties. In order to be considered for a special use, the petitioner is required to demonstrate through testimony to the Plan Commission at a public hearing that the request meets the standards of the village code, including but not limited to how the proposed use will not damage the enjoyment or use of the surrounding properties. Prior to the public hearing, the petitioner provides written statements meant to show that their request meets the standards for special use as established in Title 19. The Commission chairperson will typically direct that these statements be entered into the record without a full reading of them at the hearing. Based upon the testimony and supporting materials submitted, the Plan Commission will make findings in support of or against the petitioner's testimony and report those findings to the village board.
Thank you. Ms. Nyes.
Okay, so this is a special use for a recreation and instruction facility. And so the petitioner is looking to open up a fashion and design business, and they're here, they can explain it, but there were nothing particular with this one and no proposed conditions.
All right.
So if you guys want.
Is the petitioner here? And if you're both going to speak, I need to swear you both in. You swear the testimony you're giving tonight to be the truth.
I do.
Please state your names and business address.
Valentina Fadyenko, F-A-D-I-E-I-E-N-K-O, 262 McHenry Road, Wheeling.
Dmytro Fadyenko, D-M-Y-T-R-O, F-A-D-Y-E-Y-E-N-K-O.
That's still going to be a challenge for our secretary.
I have that, actually. We're good.
Okay, so tell us about your project.
Well, let me provide the information. Valentina is the owner of the business. I'm not in this business, but as my English is a bit better, I will explain.
Yeah, it's my husband.
Yeah, it's a fashion and art design space. Valentina was a director of similar business in Ukraine since 2011 to 2018. But then we moved to the United States, and that business is currently directed by relatives in Ukraine. So now we are going to open the same business here. So it's first of all, it's a fashion drawing classes for children in age 5 to 16, and also for adults who would like to visit that. It's a bit similar to what is provided in high school on fashion and dress construction lessons. But in this case, we are more oriented to age from 5 and to more individual approach to the children. Yeah, and also this business will provide some events for people who are interested in the world of fashion, and also
Fashion birthday parties for children.
so that's it, classes, events and parties.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Interesting concept.
This is a successful concept in Ukraine. We hope it will start here successfully too.
All right. Let's see. This is a public hearing. If anyone came to speak on this one? Nope. All right. Start with Commissioner Meyer again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I find it very intriguing that you're offering the fashion design and drawing classes, and you mentioned ages 5 to 16, and it's classes, events, and parties. It seems like a very good use. I wish you well in your business, and thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you so much.
I have no questions.
Thank you.
Commissioner Riles.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say thank you as well. I think it's very intriguing and very interesting, and it's welcoming, so thank you and good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sprague.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you.
There's no one here to ask. Do you have any idea what the maximum occupancy is for that space?
16.
16?
Yeah.
Oh, like for fire, I think he's asking.
Are you asking about parking or about?
No, he's asking, did the fire inspector come by?
Oh, no.
Not yet, so,
No.
but they'll determine that.
Because their cover letter is stating that up to 23 people could be there at one time. So I was just,
Yeah, that'll be confirmed with fire.
okay, all right. Well, that's all I had, thank you.
So, yeah, they may limit how many people can be in that particular unit. We'll have to see. Commissioner Berkey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No questions.
Commissioner Heiken?
Yeah, I'm going to echo what everybody else has said. Welcome and thank you, and I have no questions. I wish
you
you
so much.
nothing but success.
Commissioner Casper?
No questions.
And, yeah, I find it a very interesting concept. And is there anything else like this in the area that you know of?
We did not find anything similar except in Stevenson High School.
Yeah,
Oh, they have a class in it?
yes.
Ah, okay. Any other questions? And you said there were no conditions? So, motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Casper and
Berkey.
Berkey?
Commissioner Casper.
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey.
Yes.
Commissioner Heiken.
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner Riles.
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you'll also have to come to the village board meeting on April 3rd at
Yeah.
6:30 here.
Yeah,
And-
thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck.
And now we need a motion to close 2023-10.
So moved.
Second.
Meyer and Riles. Commissioner Meyer.
Yes.
Commissioner Riles.
Yes.
Commissioner Casper.
Yes.
Commissioner Heiken.
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey.
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Chairman Johnson.
Yes. All right. Next up, 2023-12, special use to permit a farmer's market at Wheeling Town Center, the Lynmark Group, 375 West Dundee. Mr. Secretary?
The Lynmark Group, property owner, is seeking special use approval pursuant to Title 19 zoning of the Wheeling Municipal Code, Chapter 19.10, use regulations and associated sections, in order to permit a farmer's market within the Village Green Plaza in Wheeling Town Center located at 375 West Dundee Road, which is Zone MXT, Transit Oriented Mixed Use Zoning District. A special use as defined in the zoning code is a parcel of land that requires review and consideration before approval due to the potential for negative impacts on the surrounding properties. In order to be considered for a special use, the petitioner is required to demonstrate through testimony to the Plan Commission at a public hearing that the request meets the standards of the village code, including but not limited to how the proposed use will not damage the enjoyment or use of the surrounding properties. Prior to the public hearing, the petitioner provides written statements meant to show that the request meets the standards for special use as established in Title 19. The Commission chairperson will typically direct that these statements be entered into the record without a full reading of them at the hearing. Based upon the testimony and supporting materials submitted, the Plan Commission will make findings in support of or against the petitioner's testimony and report those findings to the village board.
Thank you. Ms. Nyes, I was kind of surprised to see this had to come to the Plan Commission.
Agreed.
That was just,
Come on, Todd.
Well, Don was around when I got my original zoning, and the original intention of the plaza was to host public
I was
events
around.
and a farmer's market and an art fair and all these other items. But whatever. Don't worry about it. I'm here. It's all good.
Well, we'll let Brad explain.
all right, well, then I got to swear you in. I know.
All right, fine.
It's been a while, so raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you're giving tonight to be the truth.
Yes.
State your name and business address, sir.
Brad Friedman, 375 West Dundee, Wheeling.
Okay. Now tell us about this little project of yours.
I'm bringing a farmer's market to the community. Isn't that what everybody wants?
I don't know.
Why would you not?
Okay.
It's not a real farmer's market because we're not going to have traditional produce. We're not going to have fruits and veggies, but a lot of other items, locally produced organic provisions. Oils, bread, cheese, honey.
So not
fresh baked goods.
Not a traditional farmer's market.
Not traditional produce in the sense of fruits and vegetables, but other items that you see at a farmer's market, yes.
Okay. Well, let's go to the commission, see what they think. This is a public hearing. Is there anybody that came to talk about this besides Brad? Let's start with Commissioner Berkey this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening. So when you say there's going to be bread, honey, this is going to be stuff that people come from, say, the neighborhood and say they want to sell some stuff they make at home, or will you also have local businesses kind of selling some of their products and stuff there?
Mostly local producers who are making their own locally produced organic food items. So that's what it is.
Okay. And then what kind of, I saw kids' activities in there. What kind of kids' activities or what kind
Well,
of
the park district is involved, the library is involved. I mean, we're getting everybody involved like it should be a community event, right? So the park district is going to be providing kids' activities. The library will be doing stuff as well. So you guys want to set up a booth, maybe I'll give you a discount.
That's all I have. Thank you.
No problem.
Commissioner Heiken.
Yeah, great idea, long time coming. Any plan on bringing produce and stuff?
So the issue is that a lot of the traditional produce vendors are really committed to existing established markets in surrounding communities. We have found, and based on research, the vendors that actually do the best at these markets are the vendors that are selling the non-traditional produce items, the items that I just mentioned with flowers, chocolates, honeys, jams, stuff like that. But yeah, there's definitely an opportunity, to bring in those other vendors. This is kind of like a test market. We're going to test it out. We're doing one Tuesday a month, May through September. So we'll have 5 Tuesday evening markets. We'll have acoustic music there and stuff. And, if it works, great, we'll keep it going. If not, then I guess it's just not meant to be. But, we're giving it our best shot.
Great concept. I wish you luck.
Thank you.
That's all I got. Thank you.
Commissioner Casper.
Yeah, just for food products, if you're bringing in prepared foods, is the criteria that this has to be from commercial establishments, or can Aunt Sally bring in 3 dozen cookies that she baked in her own kitchen?
Yes. Yes, someone can bring in dozens of cookies that they baked in their own kitchen.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
Did it? Let's go to the other end. Commissioner Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick question. Relative to your local producers, I'm assuming they will bring their own table setups, that sort of thing?
Yes.
No other special requirements needed, like electrical?
Well, we have electrical in the
Okay.
plaza.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
And then I would just echo Commissioner Heiken's comments. Great idea.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Commissioner Riles.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Good evening.
It's a great concept.
Thank you. You're going to MC it, right? Do some stand-up? Bring your radio show to the plaza?
I don't know if I'm allowed to address that, but.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm not really proper, if you haven't figured that out.
I'm just curious, as far as the number of vendors, is there a cap?
Right now, we've got 17 vendors that have registered and signed up. We've got another 7 in the works that we're working on. So I think, the magic number is probably somewhere around 25 or so. We've seen other markets in the area with a lot less. We've obviously seen other markets with a lot more. I've got my marketing team out there making phone calls to all of the vendors that are participating in neighboring markets, and trying to, bring them together. We're gonna keep trying to build it up, as time moves on and, build the momentum. If you got anyone that you would like to see there or want to recommend, you know how to get in touch with me, so.
And one last question, thank you. I understand you said that traditional farmers market, most of the vendors with the produce, they have other commitments in other areas. Why did you select Tuesday?
So we originally we knew we couldn't do Saturday, Sunday because they were, all the vendors that are coming to participate are committed to other markets. Arlington Heights and Deerfield and whatnot, that are established on Saturday and Sunday. So the original thought was, all right, let's do Friday afternoon. And so we reached out to a lot of these vendors and we got a lot of pushback. And so they're like, we're really preparing for the weekend, so Friday afternoon doesn't really work for us. And so we were like, well, what works? And, they're like, how about a weeknight? And so, we do Thursday nights live with live music. So we're really down to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And we're just like, all right, how about Tuesday evening? So, and they basically were like, yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's see how it works out. So
Sounds good.
that's where we are for now.
I got you.
So, we do other stuff on like Wednesday. We do a lot of stuff with the Park District. They'll do a Zumba class on a Wednesday in the plaza. Sometimes we do karaoke or dancing, under the stars. And so we're just trying to make use of the plaza and make it a public space where we have all these events,
No, it's a great concept, great idea, and I'm glad that you're putting legs on it, getting it to move. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Commissioner Sprague.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Mr. Friedman.
Good evening.
You mentioned in your cover letter that the local producers mostly consisting of organic food products, but then also featuring a few food vendors. Is that different than what you're talking about? The featuring a few food vendors that won't compete with the restaurants?
Correct.
Correct.
A couple of food vendors that won't compete with the restaurants. Yes, correct.
Oh, okay. But
I'm sorry,
is that
what's-
different than the products that you just told us about? Is that something else besides that?
Yeah, like some guy's going to be selling crepes. One guy is going to be like smoking fish, doing homemade smoked fish dips and stuff. So yeah, stuff like that.
What about food trucks? Are you having anything like that, or?
I mean, I would,
Yeah.
as long as it doesn't compete with my
Right.
tenants.
All right,
you
right,
know.
right.
So we do have like, someone who's going to be like doing like, cotton candy,
Mhm.
gourmet popcorn, like, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But, I can't bring in someone who's going to be selling like, burgers and tacos.
I understand.
That would just be rude to my tenants.
Right,
Or ice
right.
cream,
Ice cream,
so,
yeah. Thank
But
you.
there is one guy who's going to be doing like poke bowls, right? So like, that doesn't compete with any of my tenants,
Mhm.
so I'm fine with that.
Very good. Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had a question on how many vendors you have, and you answered that. So, I had nothing else. Any other questions from the commission? All right. Marcy, is there any conditions on this one?
Nope.
All right. How about a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Heiken,
Yes.
Commissioner Casper,
Yes?
Commissioner Berkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes, Commissioner Riles,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes.
And you also get to go to the village board on April 3rd.
We'll see about that. All right, thanks, guys. Have a good
See
one.
ya.
Take it easy.
Take care. Thank you.
Do we need a break or?
We'll close the hearing.
Oh, yeah. Motion to close 2023-12.
So moved.
Second.
That was Berkey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Casper,
Yes?
Commissioner Heiken,
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes, Commissioner Riles.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. Do we need to take a break before we get started on the big one?
I'm fine. I don't know about
Okay.
anyone else.
Yes, break?
No, no.
Oh.
Good. Keep going.
Okay. Anybody need a break before we get going? All right. Okay, the next 6 agenda items are all for the same petitioner. We have a request for a special use, 4 requests for variations, and a minor site plan. So first, we're going to do the special use, docket 2023-13A, special use to operate an adult use cannabis cultivation facility. We'll open this one up for discussion. Mr. Secretary.
May Lee Tinker LLC, leasee, seeks a special use as required under Title 19 zoning of the Wheeling Municipal Code, Chapter 19-10.060, non-residential use regulations and associated sections to permit a cannabis cultivation center in the I-3 General Industrial Zoning District for the property located at 160 West Hintz Road. A special use is defined in the zoning code as a use of parcel of land that requires review and consideration before approval due to the potential for negative impacts on the surrounding properties. In order to be considered for a special use, the petitioner is required to demonstrate through testimony to the Plan Commission at a public hearing that the request meets the standards of the village code, including but not limited to how the proposed use will not damage the enjoyment or use of the surrounding properties. Prior to the public hearing, the petitioner provides written statements meant to show that the request meets the standards for a special use as established in Title 19. The Commission chairperson will typically direct that these statements be entered into the record without a full reading of them at the hearing. Based upon the testimony and supporting material submitted, the Plan Commission will make findings in support of or against the petitioner's testimony and report those findings to the village board.
Thank you. Ms. Nyes, we have some history here.
Yes, but the petitioner is going to go over that.
Okay. Well,
So,
whoever's going to speak, come on up and get sworn in.
Hello,
Swear the testimony you're giving tonight to be the truth.
I do.
And state your name and business address.
My name is Nick Standiford. I'm at 70 West Madison, Suite 5400 in Chicago.
Okay.
So Marcy and I decided that it would be easier and quicker if I just went and did the presentation and dove right into it.
Good. We got to give her a break sometime.
Yeah, exactly. So this property, as many of you know, was here before you a few years ago in 2021, and the applicant was NBGC Partners, and they were seeking the same use as what we're seeking right now in the same exact building. I'd like to kind of describe, I'm going to go into detail about kind of what we're doing here and how it's the same and how it's different from that, because I know there are a few new members. So this building, this is looking north and at the south side of the building, and on the west side is, and let me use the mouse here, on the west side of the building, right over here, is where we're going to put an enclosure. And it's going to be a fenced enclosure, an 8-foot fence, a Trex fence, and it's going to cover some HVAC units that we're putting on the side of the building. There's also going to be a CO2 tank in the back, and that's for the growing operation. And that's also going to be enclosed. So those are some of the improvements we're making. I'm going to show you an enclosure that's going to go on the back side of the building. But the big difference from what we're proposing as opposed to the prior applicants is that we're not filling any of these docks, these loading docks here. We're just going to keep them as is, and we're going to use them for loading. And so some of the numbers changed a little bit with respect to green space, with respect to parking, but that's the reason. And that's basically the only big difference from what they were proposing to what we're proposing right now. And the other, I guess the biggest difference is we have a different applicant, a different operator in the space. So we brought them here tonight, the principals of the operator, so that you can meet them and hear from them. So I'm going to turn it over to them right now. This is Satya. I have a typo on my PowerPoint, so sorry about that. It's May Lee Tinker and Satya. And I'm going to bring the guys over here right now, Nishant and Simone, and I'll let them be sworn and tell them about their business. So okay. Come on, guys.
All right. Raise your right hands. Do you swear the testimony you're giving tonight to be the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right. State your names and business addresses for the record.
Nishant Reddy, R-E-D-D-Y. Business address is 2219 Main Street, Unit 650, Santa Monica, California.
Simone Saraf, S-I-M-M-O-N.
Yeah, get a little closer to the mic.
Simone Saraf, S-I-M-M-O-N. Last name S-A-R-A-F. And the same address, 2219 Main Street, number 650, Santa Monica, California, 96019.
Okay.
So Simone and I have been in the cannabis industry for going on 10 years now. We were some of the earliest pioneers to get into the space. Both of us come from institutional finance backgrounds. Mine is private equity investment banking. Simone's was investment banking and hedge fund. We got into cannabis in California, where we both live. Like I said, back in 2013, I pursued a degree in horticulture and cannabis cultivation, developed some of the first cultivations in Oregon, and since then we built what is now Satya Capital. Satya accounts for about 1% of the cannabis that's being produced in California, including our brands of Golden State and Phases. Our expansion is really about us, bringing our track record and experience, what we've established in California, which is the largest legal cannabis market in the country as well as the world, and our success. Our brand of Golden State is actually the #2 most sold premium brand within the state. And so we are now scaling that expertise, that pedigree, this portfolio of brands. Chicago, Illinois is obviously one of the places we're coming to. Wheeling is particularly attractive for us because of, the favorable conditions for manufacturing, proximity to the 294 O'Hare Airport. Obviously, like we talked about, we have a facility that's a really great solution for what our operations are in California, and the fact that we've had another applicant, successfully move forward with this location. Satya really was founded with the premise of bringing truth and transparency to this otherwise nascent industry. We're a minority-owned, bespoke, boutique, multi-state operator with a focus really on premium brands. We're considered to be the highest quality cannabis that's being produced both in California and the U.S. currently, and we think that, Illinois is a wonderful market for us to then transition to and bring that expertise, that track record, that success, as well as to the city of Wheeling. And so that is what we are particularly excited about. Simone, I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add on as well.
No, I'll just say my personal experience getting into cannabis really stemmed from watching my mother go through cancer treatments and then having to deal with cannabis on both therapeutic and the recovery stage of things. And that's where I really started to get involved with cannabis and start to see the industry as something much more different than just a recreational market as well. And so when I came into this thing, I really saw my background in working with highly compliant industries, cannabis obviously being a very compliant industry, wanted to bring that experience and making sure that we were building something that met the requirements and or exceeded what was being asked of us as an industry overall.
We were really excited to have the Satya guys, that's what I call them, in this space. As you can tell, they're experts in the field. I want to bring up the person who found the space and connected Satya with the space. He's got a wealth of knowledge in this industry and in this area. So I'm going to kick it over to Kevin Schultz.
I swear you in. You swear the testimony you're giving tonight to be the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Kevin Schultz, Kevin Schultz. Business address is 500 West Monroe Street, Suite 2900, Chicago, Illinois, 606.
We're not going to mail you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody, for your time this evening to listen to us. As I said, my name is Kevin Schultz. I'm with a firm called Lynmark. We are a commercial real estate firm, third, fourth largest in the nation, depending on how our stock price is trading that day. We're at an all-time low today. I co-founded the cannabis practice with my partner, who is with his 3 children this evening, in Chicago, and we are in 33 states currently with over 3 million square feet of transactions, cannabis specific, over the past 7 years. We service licensees such as the Satya team on all asset types, so retail, industrial, manufacturing, lab space, office space as well. We represent most of the publicly traded firms that reside within Chicago as well, Cresco, Revolution, Green Thumb Industries, Verano, et cetera. My background within real estate is one that is finance-based with investment sales and retail. I have focused on Illinois specifically within our portfolio of states due to the adult use regulations that came into effect in 2020. For those that are unaware, there's about 71 craft grower licenses that are being issued within the state, 181 dispensary licenses. We represent about 30% of the dispensary license in the state and very selective with our cultivation clients that we work with due to the difficulty of standing up a business of this type. And the Satya team has been able to do that in the California markets that you just described. But we do feel that they do a stellar job within the Illinois markets overall and bring a very niche product to the Illinois consumer basis. Within Illinois overall, as you're aware, there's municipalities that can opt in, opt out for the use per license type with zoning regulation. I grew up in Glenview. I know Wheeling very, very well. Went to Glenbrook South, played within Wheeling football, basketball, baseball, any little league sport that you could think of, I've been here. I love Bob Chin's, and I think I went to Benihana for homecoming in freshman year of high school. So knowing that Wheeling has a pro ordinance in support of the use, and knowing the strong industrial corridor that we have on Hintz Road and the Milwaukee Business Center, it's been a focal point of mine over the past 2.5 years to find something that is well situated, has a sufficient power source, as well as access to other municipal utilities that can satisfy a cultivation of this size. There's very few municipalities within the state that are receptive and in support of the use, so I can commend council here and the city overall on being forward-thinking within the space. If there's any questions on real estate, cannabis nationally, locally, overall, I'm happy to address those, but really appreciate the time and effort you guys are making here. Thank you.
All right, so I think we got Nishant got into this a little bit, but why Wheeling? A few of these points I think it's important to mention. Other than, I think these guys are from California. I think they came here for the good weather. Just kidding. 160 West Hintz is attractive to them because it was previously approved for a craft grow. So obviously that was a big plus. Wheeling is the 5th largest concentration of manufacturing businesses in Illinois, and you'll see the heart of Wheeling is industrial, and there's a good chunk of it that is great for industrial uses. It's got planes, trains, and automobiles that are close in Wheeling, and it's got a very talented local labor pool. Excuse me. So the area, this is in the heart of Wheeling. It's in kind of the center. Just wanted to show you kind of where it is in town. And I'll go through these kind of quickly, and I just want to kind of orient everyone to the site and kind of give you a tour. The comprehensive plan in Wheeling shows this as an industrial zoned property, an industrial use property. The future map also shows it as industrial. So this is what I was talking about, this heart of industrial, kind of right here along the railroad line. So then you zoom in a little closer on the GIS map, and we're in the I-3 district, and we're surrounded by I-3 uses. This is the railroad that kind of comes down here. These are the adjacent uses. Kevin says they're flex manufacturing properties. And then you have the railroad to the west. So it's conveniently situated among other similar uses. The property itself. So this is the view looking facing north. It's at the south side of the building. These are the loading docks. It's got plenty of maneuverability in the parking lot in front and access off Hintz. This is a south side of the building facing north. I showed you this picture already. Like I said, it's got a lot of area to move around. Kind of in here is going to be some grow space. Over here is where there's some office space. And we intend on continuing the office space use over here. This is more of a cultivation space in this area of the building. We'll get into the floor plan in a little bit. Again, over here is where that fence is going to go with those HVAC units that are mounted on the ground. This is a little closer image. This was in the staff report. This shows you the west side of the building, kind of gives you a better idea of where that fence is going to go, where that HVAC is going to go. Here's the railroad over here in the transmission lines. So, sight of these HVAC units are going to be obstructed by the fence completely, and you won't be able to see them. No one will be able to hear them. They won't be a noxious use. This is the east side of the building, so this kind of shows the parking. So there's ample parking at the site. We are seeking a variation on parking. We anticipate 20 to 40 employees, and they'll work in shifts. So there's well over 20 spaces. I think there's 50-something spaces on the site. So there's more than enough for the employees here. If you kind of go back, so this is the back of the building now. This is where we're going to put that garbage enclosure. So you have this overhead door that's going to go directly into that garbage enclosure so that it's safe. You don't have to go outside the building to dump out the trash. You go right through that door. So that's an extra level of safety that this site has. And then I just want to point out in the back of the building, the prior applicant proposed these big chillers. And these applicants felt like that was overkill for what they were trying to do. So they're just going to put a few more HVACs back there. And those are going to go in the setback, but they're necessary for the operations. The reason for the variation is because if you put all these heavy HVAC units on the roof, it could be a structural issue. So that's why we're putting them on the ground. And that's why we need the variations. This is the inside of the building. So this is the west part of the building. This is where the grow is going to occur. So if you can picture some plants in here, that's what it is. I can let the guys talk a little bit more, but I understand it to be that these grow operations are basically the plants that are in these boxes that are humidity controlled, temperature controlled, to create like a really good growing environment. Because you don't want to heat and this whole huge massive space. You want to do it in contained environments. So this is one side of the building. You go through these doors in here and you get to the other side of the building. And this is it. So this is a lot of space, as you can see. The state only allows, I think, 5,000 square feet of canopy space. It's possible that they'll change that and increase the amount of space. So if they do, we'll welcome that with open arms, because it would allow them to grow more and utilize all this space. Here's one of the loading docks. You can kind of go in and see how secure deliveries will occur. They get, it sounds like every 2 weeks or so, there's going to be a delivery of like soil and product and stuff like that to make this growing happen. And then you're also going to get some vans who are going to take the product once it's cultivated, and they're going to drive into these bays, and they're going to load it up, and then they're going to open the bays and leave. So these are like sprinter vans kind of thing, and that's what takes these secured products to and from the dispensary, or the growing facility. I've done a few dispensaries. I'm just going to give you a quick overview of the plans. So this is the site plan. These are those HVAC units I was talking about here in the black shading. There's this CO2 enclosure back here. So, I guess they need CO2 to grow plants, and that's where the CO2 is going to go. I'm told that there's, all the safety mechanisms in place so that it has like monitoring and sensors and other things that make it so that it's safe. That's going to be enclosed by the fence, so no one's going to be able to access it other than within the fence. And then these are the HVACs in the back. And then that enclosure I was mentioning with that overhead door, that's right back here. There's parking that we're having right along here. There's some parallel parking. I don't know if we'll need it, but we have it just to increase our parking count. So we're basically keeping everything the same, except for we're adding these HVACs, we're adding an enclosure, we're adding the CO2, we're adding some parking spaces. This is the floor plan. I just want to, we showed you inside the building. This is kind of what it looks like from up top. And so these big boxes are those growing boxes I was kind of talking about all through the west part of the building. These are the loading docks I was talking about. And then this is that office area where there's going to be a secured vault and some office space, as well as I think there's security, 24-hour security. So that's the kind of the orientation of the building. Next, I'm going to show you the fence. So this is the fence. It's a woodland brown color fence that's made of Trex. We're asking for a variation from 6 to 8 feet. So that, and I'm told the reason for that is because if it was 6 feet, you might be able to see the exhaust or the piping or whatever that goes from the HVAC into the building. So that's the reason that the 8-foot variation is being requested. So that was the same variation that was requested by the last applicants, and it's we asked that it be approved as well. So I guess the summary is, and it looks like my picture got a little bit over my text, but we're looking for a special use permit for a cannabis cultivation facility, a rear yard setback, a green space reduction. The site is already non-conforming as to green space. It's a little less conforming now with our HVACs, but it's not much. So we're asking for a green space variation, we're asking for that height variation, and we're asking for the off-street parking space variation. If the zoning relief is recommended for approval by this body and granted by the board, the property looks to be purchased, and then Satya will lease the space. Construction will take approximately, we've been told, 9 to 12 months. And after the construction is done, then the state comes in and makes sure everything is conforming to the state law. So that's another level of safety that will be, and another body that comes and inspects the site. So, we believe this site will be safe and productive. And is there anything else you guys want to add? Come on up.
Yeah, and I would just say that, we have been doing this for the better part of 10 years now. We currently operate 100,000 square feet over 3 facilities in California. With Kevin, we're in the process of building out another 100,000 square feet in New Jersey. So we have a lot of expertise doing this. We know how to run them well. We know how to produce high-end product. We know how to keep them safe. We know how to prevent odor from leaking out and things like that. And again, we're doing it at the absolute highest level that it's being done within the country. We've won numerous awards for this. We've been written up in everything from Forbes, Business Insider. We have a focus on social justice, sustainability. We're the only carbon neutral operation in the country. And we're full vertical in the states that we're in, meaning dispensaries, cultivation, portfolio of brands, distribution. So again, we're doing this at a very high level, and we are absolute professionals within the space. And I'm not sure if I made that connection right between what Simone and I's previous jobs were, and we brought that expertise, Simone's background in regulatory finance, mine and investment banking, real estate development, and we saw an opportunity in what we could bring to do it better in cannabis. And so I think that's really with the team that we have here, the expertise and the sophistication that we want to bring to Wheeling and really partner with the city to bring a value add for this community.
And since I didn't let Marcy do the staff report, I would be remiss not to mention that we're also looking for minor site plan and appearance review for a cannabis cultivation center. That's the last part of the relief I should have put on the PowerPoint. So with that, I'm sorry if we went quickly. We tried to be judicious with the time, but give you enough information, I think, to make an informed decision. So we welcome your questions and thank you for your service.
Thank you. All right. I have to say it. It's a public hearing. Is there anybody here from the public? No. Okay. Well, let's start with the two members who weren't here on the previous discussion. Commissioner Meyer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick question, if I may, about your mechanical units. So in reading through the materials, I think I saw that, you presented on the site plan that there's 23 air handling units that'll be mounted, right, just on the pavement. Is it also correct that there's 16 existing rooftop units?
I don't know the exact number of the units. Do you know how many there are on the roof?
So that is correct.
Okay.
Those rooftop units are past their useful life and will be replaced for the new units that we put on the ground. So the rooftop units that are up there right now are sufficient for the previous use, which was AGS Co. Corporation that was producing industrial, oh my gosh, what is it?
That's okay.
Yeah.
So basically, your 16 rooftop units are going to get decommissioned?
Correct.
And you'll just use the 23 that are on the ground?
Yes, and I would like to note, under the current Illinois statute, there's only 5,000 square feet of canopy permitted by law. What we showed in the renderings was a max canopy at a future date. So the initial HVAC density will not be those full 23 units.
Okay.
The next step up from the current 5,000 square feet of canopy is 14,000 square feet. That is set, and I'm putting this in quotations because it's on public record, to be passed within Springfield sometime in the second quarter legislative session. I do not know if that will happen or not, but if it does, we will be building out to the fullest extent of the law that we can.
Okay.
But the 23 units that you saw would be for the maximum, which would then lead up to potentially 30,000 square feet of canopy, which is not part of the adult use bill currently.
Okay, thank you. And then one other question, and that's just about your CO2 tank that's also in back there. I'm assuming, the appropriate signage, safety precautions. Okay, thank you very much. No other questions.
Just to be clear, it'll also be by national CO2 company And we have pylons that protect it from any cars potentially going through.
Really happy to hear that. Thank you.
Commissioner Casper, you weren't there.
Thank you. I thought it was a very informative, concise, well-done presentation, and it dovetailed well with what the staff has provided us. So I think I got a pretty good understanding of everything, and I don't really have any questions. Thanks.
All right. Let's go back to Commissioner Riles.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You pretty much answered the question with the 5,000 square feet, but the construction is 9 to 12 months, you're saying here?
Yeah.
9 to 12 months if we were to go through the full phase. But in theory, some of the delay or some of the timing is just really staging. So getting supplies through supply chain issues and so forth. So I don't know that even if we were just doing the 5,000 square feet, it would be significantly reduced from the 9 to 12 months, despite the fact that we wouldn't be doing the full, call it 14,000 square feet if it does get approved. So we'll leave a little bit of a room for there. But I think with just the 5,000 square foot canopy, it should be accelerated. But when you look at what we do for irrigation, fertigation, and some of the other items, that stuff is just needs to get done regardless of how big of a canopy you really
Sure, sure,
And then
okay.
just supply chain switch.
So in essence, you're kind of giving yourself a window,
Basically.
more or less.
Basically, but again, it's also a lot of it is just thinking of when we get approval, when we get moved forward, then placing things for order. A lot of that is just also just waiting for things to show up and get and be there ready for installation. So that's a big part of the 9 to 12 months in general.
Gotcha, okay, thank you. No
Commissioner
other
Hyken.
question?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. Are there any other locations in the area doing the same thing?
Within Wheeling, to my knowledge, there are none operational.
I'm talking North Shore.
In the North Shore region.
North-
So,
yeah.
Franklin Park does have one approved. McHenry, there is one, granted that's in McHenry County. There is one looking up in Mundelein currently. One in Waukegan that is probably going in front of council in the next 30 days. Yeah, well, within the legacy operators, so that was medical operators that were granted a adult use license, increased their canopy from 90,000 square feet to 210,000 square feet. There are currently 20 within the state. There are none within Lake County. There is one in Elk Grove Village. That is Forefront Ventures, which has 110,000 square feet of canopy right now. And then one in Bedford, Bedford Grow, which has 175,000 square feet of canopy. So in the immediate, let's call it 3, 5, 10-mile vicinity, there are none active, but there are multiple in the process in which we are going through right now for approvals and starting to build out and grow. There's only one craft cultivator in the state from the most recent adult use licensing round that has been awarded their annual license by the state of Illinois, and that's after you're fully built out, municipal approval, and you have your state inspection. That is Starbuds, which is in Rockford.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Berkey.
I don't have any questions, thank you.
All right, Commissioner Sprague.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no questions.
All right, that's me then. So where do you stand with licensing right now?
Take this. So May Lee Tinker is a awardee of a craft grow license within Illinois. The Satya team has acquired that license, and in order for us to become operational, there's several steps that we need to take place. One, municipal approval, zoning, letter of recommendation, letter of support, special use permit. Two is a active lease agreement, which our capital or investor who is purchasing the building on behalf of the team and leasing it back to us will consummate that transaction. Third is a transfer of location. The first two of this process, which I just noted, municipal approval and documentation of a lease, need to be completed in order for transfer of location to be complete. So assuming, and hopefully with approval of Wheeling, we'll be able to start that process after City Council.
All right, thank you. As far as It falls in the site plan or special use, but you have your secure waste area for products that you have to destroy, right? What about plain old garbage? Is that kept in the same place? Same dumpster?
Typically, for any organic waste that would be from cannabis use, we would utilize it on cannabis-like future. So we basically either grind it with some other sawdust or cardboard boxes, so to speak, to sort of get more than 51% to be non-organic material or non-cannabis waste.
Right.
And so then we put that into a special bin, so that way it's then taken hold off to appropriate sites for disposal. In terms of just normal waste boxes and everything else, we'll utilize normal trash bins and normal trash service for that.
And that would be in that same enclosure, or?
That should be in the same enclosure as well.
Okay, just wondering. All right, any other questions from the group?
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
If I may, just want to address Commissioner Meyer's question about the rooftop units. So our architect couldn't be here tonight, but he was available I've been on the phone with him here, and he just wanted me to mention, he's developed like a building level plans. We use the same architect as the prior applicant, and the rooftop units are actually, there's 10 units up there. Okay. And they're being replaced, and we're adding 6 new ones. And these are for incidentals, which he tells me are janitor's closets, storage rooms. And I asked him, are they as heavy as the big ones on the ground? And he says, no, they're much lighter. So there are going to be 16 smaller units on the roof.
Okay.
And that's what are shown on the roof plans in your packets.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thanks. All right, any other questions? Left, right? Ms. Nyes, conditions.
We only have proposed conditions on the minor site plan, so let's hold on those for now.
All right. So we need a motion to approve 2023-13A, the special use only at this point.
So moved.
Second.
Berkey.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Casper,
Yes?
Commissioner Heiken,
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes, Commissioner Riles,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. And we need a motion to close 2023-13A.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Casper,
Yes?
Commissioner Heiken,
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes, Commissioner Riles,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. All right, now we'll open up the 4 variation requests all at once so we can cover any questions the commission has on those, but we will need to vote on each one separately when we're done. So, Mr. Secretary, it's all yours.
Maylee Tinker LLC leasee seeks a variation as required under Title 19 zoning of the Wheeling Municipal Code, Chapter 19-07, Industrial Districts and Associated Sections to permit a reduction of the required minimum rear yard setback from 17 feet to 7 feet 6 inches for the property located at 160 West Hintz Road. Maylee Tinker LLC leasee seeks a variation as required under Title 19 zoning of the Wheeling Municipal Code, Chapter 19-07, Industrial Districts and Associated Sections, to permit a reduction in the minimum green space requirement from 19%, 25% required minimum, to 15% for the property located at 160 West Hintz Road. Maylee Linker LLC leasee seeks a variation as required under Title 19 zoning of the Wheeling Municipal Code 19-10 use regulations and associated sections to permit an increase in the maximum fence height from 6 feet to 8 feet for property located at 160 West Hintz Road. Maylee Tinker LLC leasee seeks a variation as required under Title 19 zoning of the Wheeling Municipal Code, Chapter 19-11, General Development Standards and Associated Sections to permit a reduction in the minimum number of required off-street parking spaces from 82 spaces to 51 spaces for the property located at 160 West Hintz Road. A zoning variation is intended to be a method of adjustment to equalize regulations where the zoning code has created an unnecessary hardship. A variation is designed to allow affected property owners the same rights and privileges that others enjoy in the same zoning district. In order to be granted a variation, a petitioner is required to demonstrate through testimony to the Plan Commission at a public hearing that the request meets the standards of the village code, including, but not limited to, how their individual situation is unique or unusual. Prior to the public hearing, the petitioner provides written statements meant to show that the request for a variation meets the standards established in Title 19. The Commission chairperson will typically direct that these statements be entered in the record without a full reading of them at the hearing. Based upon the testimony and supporting materials submitted, the Plan Commission will make findings in support of or against the petitioner's testimony and report those findings to the village board.
Take a drink. All right. Marcy, do you have anything to add at this point?
Nope.
Okay. And I assume you guys don't have anything to add, so we'll just see if anyone's got questions and go from there. So let's start with Commissioner Casper this time. Anything on the 4 variations?
No, sir.
All right. Commissioner Meyer?
No, sir.
Commissioner Heiken?
Thank you, no.
Commissioner Riles?
No questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Sprague, anything?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I have a couple things I just want to mention. Number one, the increase in the fence height. You're not concerned about circulation with your HVAC units with increasing the height of the fences?
As far as we're concerned, no, the architect and the team that we have hired to review all that stuff, as long as they're okay with it, then from a technical perspective, then we're okay with it.
Okay, and then the only other thing I wanted to mention, which I had mentioned in the previous times, there's a right-of-way in the back. Just wanted you to be aware of that. ComEd has that right-of-way back there.
Okay.
So if they need to get back there, doesn't matter what's in the way. Just want you to keep that in mind.
Okay, appreciate that, thank you.
That's all I have, thank you.
All right. Commissioner Berkey?
No questions, thank you.
And I didn't have any questions on these. They look all very familiar. If there are no other questions, I would entertain a motion on 2023-13B, the variation to reduce rear yard setback.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Meyer?
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey?
Yes.
Commissioner Casper?
Yes.
Commissioner Heiken?
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner Riles?
Yes.
Chairman Johnson?
Yes. Now we're going to close these all together. So a motion on 2023-13C is a variation to reduce green space.
So moved.
Second.
Is that Riles?
Yes. Commissioner Meyer?
Yes.
Commissioner Riles?
Yes.
Commissioner Casper?
Yes.
Commissioner Heiken?
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey?
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Chairman Johnson?
Yes. Motion on 2023-13D, a variation to increase the maximum fence height.
So moved. Okay, second.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner Meyer?
Yes.
Commissioner Casper?
Yes.
Commissioner Heiken?
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey?
Yes.
Commissioner Riles?
Yes.
Chairman Johnson?
Yes.
Okay, hold on, don't go so fast. Okay,
Okay?
I'm good.
Okay. She's good. Motion on 2023-13E, variation to reduce the number of off-street parking.
So moved.
Second.
Berkey.
Yes.
Commissioner Meyer?
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey?
Yes.
Commissioner Casper?
Yes.
Commissioner Heiken?
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner Riles?
Yes.
Chairman Johnson?
Yes.
Okay, now hold
All
on.
right.
Oh, now you got to close them.
We have to close
Now we have
those.
to close 2023-13B, 13C, 13D, and 13E.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes. Commissioner Meyer?
Yes.
Commissioner Casper?
Yes.
Commissioner Heiken?
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey?
Yes.
Commissioner Riles?
Yes.
Chairman Johnson?
Yes. All right, and finally, Docket 2301, 23-01, minor site plan and appearance review also for May Lee Tinker LLC, 160 West Hintz Road. Ms. Nyes, you don't get to read this.
Yeah, I'm done.
2 recommended conditions. Number 1, the building permit plan shall include a sign detail indicating the installation of a sign on the exterior face of the trash enclosure, which reads, quote, "Office waste only," quote, and, quote, "this area under 24-hour surveillance," quote, or similar language. Number 2, the petitioner shall place screens to conceal any HVAC equipment that is placed on the exterior of the building. Manufacturer's product specification sheet shall be submitted for review and approval with the permit application. So those are for the rooftop ones.
All right. Does anyone want to talk about the site plan? Okay. Let's go to Commissioner Meyer again.
Mr. Chairman, no questions.
Commissioner Casper.
No questions.
Commissioner Heiken.
No questions.
Commissioner Berkey.
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Riles.
No questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Sprague.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have one, just about the trash enclosure. Will that be locked with, or do you have something in the plans for keeping that locked up?
You should sit closer.
I have to talk before I get.
Are there, also, will there be double gates, or how the?
I got to look back and see exactly how the architect wants to do it, but basically the way we've done it in the past, it's a sliding gate on the exterior.
Mhm.
So that way, when it's easy to just move the bins in and out, they will be locked, and they'll be locked from the inside of the building. So that way, nobody from the exterior can basically come and mess with the lock, if you would. And then when you go from the inside of the building to the outside of the building to that trash enclosure, that will also be locked as well. So basically, if anyone's getting to that enclosure, they're coming from inside the building, which, as we stated, would be under 24-hour surveillance and fully locked. And typically, all of our locks are utilizing RFID. So if anybody is accessing a door, it's logging whose RFID card is accessing that door as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I did see your security measures. I was very pleased with what you're providing for the security.
Mr. Commissioner, the gates are they're double gates, says the architect.
Swing open?
I think so, yes.
Okay, so when you put those new bollards in, you got to make sure
there's enough room
that they'll open all the way.
I'm going to fire the architect if he didn't do that.
Yeah, right. Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
That's all you had?
And just a reminder, you'll have to coordinate with the fire department.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm a little confused though with the signage condition you have that says office waste only. If they're going to put this on there, then that's not true.
Right. So we came up with this for the last petitioner because we wanted to just deter any younglings from thinking there was something more important in there to get.
Okay.
So, I mean, while there is nothing, because it's all going to be mixed with less than the 51%, we're just saying, hey, there's nothing in there to get besides office supplies.
Optics.
Just for edification, there's, on the exterior of the building, there's a full 360-degree perimeter security camera. And that will be monitored 24 hours a day. So if there were, anybody poking around, in theory, they wouldn't have a lot of time to sort of poke around for too much. So that sign is more than fine. Yeah, and then on-site security as well. So the signage is fine. We think of the same way of like trying to deter with like sort of fake postings, but whatever works, we're happy to comply.
Okay. And who hauls the special waste? Obviously, that's not waste management coming.
Typically, we'll find someone that will deal with our agricultural waste, and I haven't gotten to that point just yet locally, but we'll find someone locally that will handle that.
Because waste management would come and get your normal
Waste
trash.
management in California does all of our stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's it for me. Without the fire department here or anything, anything they have will come up during permitting.
Yeah, and it was the same as last time. They were it's the same proposal with HVAC units on the ground, HVAC units on the roof. So, the same, pretty much the same exact floor plan. So there was no difference. So they were good.
Okay. All right, if there's any other questions?
Well, I do want to know the on-site security. Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
No problem.
The on-site security, that's a private security that's going to be on-site 24/7 or?
Typically, there's two ways of doing it. One, we can do it internally, and then have someone that works directly for the company potentially to be doing on-site security, or we can use a third-party licensed broker security company, which is more likely the way we would go in order to ensure safety protocols and also just take the liability of the insurance off of our books, if you would. So, but in theory, in reality, yeah, it would be a third-party security company that would be stationed at the facility 24 hours a day.
But is that just doing off hours or it's around the clock?
Right, depending on how we see the, traffic, typically because the facility will have all of the employees during the daytime, you'd be most likely safe with having employees, worry about people loitering around outside. If anybody is, you'll have people, sufficient people around. Then on off hours, you definitely have someone sitting in the building monitoring the screens. But then in addition to that, we typically utilize a third-party security camera vendor that is monitoring the site for 24 hours a day. So you have sort of two levels of security monitoring at any point in time at the facility.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
No other questions?
All right, if there's nothing else, I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Who was
Is that Eichen?
Who was it? Rick?
Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Eichen,
Yes.
Commissioner Casper,
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes, Commissioner Riles,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes.
All right, well, you, per your schedule working better for everybody, are going to go to the village board on April 17th. And same time, same place, and I'm sure we'll talk before then.
Thank you for your presentation.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Next up, we have approval of minutes of the regular meeting of February 22nd, 2023, including finding of facts for dockets 2023-04 and 2023-05.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Sprague is a yes, Commissioner Meyer,
Yes.
Commissioner Casper,
Yes.
Commissioner Eichen,
Yes.
Commissioner Berkey,
Yes.
Commissioner Riles,
Yes.
Chairman Johnson.
Yes. Other business. Ms. Nyes, anything?
Popeyes opened.
Yes, Popeyes did open.
What did you say?
Popeyes opened.
It did?
Yeah.
Wow.
Soft opening, but it's open.
Yep, they're open.
Cars were in the drive-thru.
I have.
Just saw them today.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
See,
I
that was a
saw
big
it
one
on
for me.
social media starting Monday. I think I saw it.
Yeah, I think it was Monday.
So
Yes. So,
hopefully we'll have another ribbon cutting coming up.
yes.
I didn't get a chance to see the board meeting Monday. I hear there was a concept review.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, for Gas and Wash, it's a gas station with a convenience store where the old, someone tell me where the place is
The
called.
old Garden Fresh.
Garden Fresh
Yeah.
was, yes, on that corner.
Okay.
So that'll be coming here at the next Plan Commission meeting.
Our next one?
For, yeah,
Which
it's a
is-
planned unit development, so it comes here for
Which is
concept
3
review.
weeks.
3 weeks?
3 weeks.
Okay. So if you didn't get a chance to see it, as I didn't, you might want to take a look at it. It may speed things up at our meeting. Any other business from the commission? Anyone?
I'm done talking for tonight.
How about down at that end? Anything?
We're good.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you again, gentlemen.